All right, we are live. So welcome to another episode of 1 Million Cups. We are glad that everybody came out and joined us. This happens every Wednesday, like clockwork. We don't stop. We'll be here even on Christmas. Psych, that's not happening. Don't show up for Christmas. I'm just playing. But we are here every Wednesday, 8:30 to 10 o'clock. 8:30 is a little bit of our networking, and then we start off at 9 o'clock where we start off our program. So if you don't mind, if you can grab your phones and hit this button right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it says check in. Hit that check in app on your 1 Million Cups app. The reason why we want you to do that is, number one, we get credit for you being here. Number two, we get pretty cool swag to be able to give out to our presenters. Once we are back in person, all the people that were presenting will give you a nice 1 Million Cups cup. Dr. Deb, hold up your cup so everybody can see. It's a nice little 1 Million Cups cup that you get. So if y'all see Dr. Deb, she is my Vanna White today, holding up the 1 Million Cups cup. But you get a nice swag like that. Next slide. So 1 Million Cups is a weekly mastermind group for entrepreneurs. We're in over 160 locations nationally. As of right now, it's virtual, so you can be in California on Zoom or in Washington, D.C. or the Fairfax area all at the same time. So we're blessed to have Zoom as the way that we are communicating now. We want to remind you that this is a safe and supportive ecosystem. We're inclusive, we're diverse, everyone has a voice. Please try not to dominate the conversation. I know you have some amazing feedback for our presenter today. However, we do have approximately 20 people, actually over 22 people on our call today. And so we want to make sure that that person gets as much great information from you as possible. Please be respectful and considerate. Please do not try to sharpshoot our presenter. She's coming here for help, so please help her. Reminder, we are on Zoom, and I forgot to hit the recording button, but I'm gonna hit the record button right now. Hold on one second, here we go. Record to the cloud. Now, you are on Facebook Live. You are being recorded, so please make sure that that you don't say anything to embarrass us or yourself. Thank you. So you can find us on Facebook. You can find us right now on Facebook Live. If you're in our group, please share the link that we just put out for Facebook Live so everybody that you know can support our presenter today and learn about her fabulous product. We also have a Facebook page where you can share information throughout the week and still ask for support in your issue, opportunity, or challenge. In Zoom, we would love you to also provide your feedback in the comments. Next slide. We couldn't do this without our sponsors. Back when we're at a specific location, we're at Office Evolution. And so I would love for John Yu to tell us about the fabulous Office Evolution.
Great, thank you, Donnell, and welcome. It's great to see everyone this morning. My name is John Yu with Office Evolution. We provide share space and co-working space located right here in Tyson's Corner. We provide fully furnished office space, share space in a flexible way so that business owner can have a business presence and meet with clients and customers. We are a locally owned business, and that makes us to be flexible when we can offer a tailored solution to our clients. Because we're local, we have a strong interest in seeing small communities grow and flourish, and hence we partner with 1 Million Cups to help business organizations. We partner with other service providers as well, such as payroll and health insurance, and to offer our members a group discounted rate. So if you want to learn more about Office Evolution and what we do, I'll provide my information on the chat box, so feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. John Yu, and thank you for allowing us to use that wonderful office space at Office Evolution. We couldn't do this without you. Is Justin on the line? Well, Justin is our representative for Paychex. If you're interested in payroll for small businesses, Justin and Paychex offer great solutions for you. Feel free to reach out to him or visit Paychex. All right. So this is a virtual meeting, and I'm just going to take you a few seconds to explain how this all works. Please, if you're not muted already, mute your microphones. If you have a question, please use the hand wave button in the chats. We'll select your name. When the presenter says your name, unmute your mic, and then ask your question, and then put your microphone back on mute and listen for the answer. Please keep your questions and comments precise so we can continue to keep this meeting moving forward. All right, next slide. Without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Tiki. So Miss Tiki runs the Euphoric Palace. She's an Army veteran and a good friend of mine. Tiki, if you know Tiki, you love Tiki. I can't wait to hear your presentation. Thank you so much for allowing us to help you grow your business. The floor is yours.
Good morning again, everyone. Thank you so much for that rendition, Donnell. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you coming on this morning to help me and to grow my business. Please, next slide. Before I go into the question, I want to tell you a little bit more about the Euphoric Palace. The Euphoric Palace is a dream at this moment that I have an opportunity to help individuals with chronic pain. But right now I am limited in that capacity. So I am here to ask for help, one, in order to grow the business I currently have. I'm selling a product, the Euphoric Bath Bombs, and writing a blog along with that to enable people heal from within. I believe, it is my belief that when we all as individuals are whole and whole within ourselves, then we will make a better community. And also, and how I can get capital to establish this dream of mine. Next slide, please. So currently, I did not think of this very wisely when I started. I was launched on April 1st, 2020, smart debt in the middle of Corona. And my goal is currently and in the next couple of years to grow my business and get the Euphoric Palace name out there, and subsequently to establish a brick and mortar, a one-stop shop. Next slide, please. This is only a repetitive slide of the previous, but here explains a little bit more. At the Euphoric Palace, we promote holistic healing of the mind, body, and spirit, that concept of wholeness. And currently doing so with my anti-inflammatory handmade all-natural bath bombs. Also a one-stop shop product. So I guess my theme is one-stop shop, to reduce the amount of time and processes it takes to feel good, be good, think well, that sort of thing. And my target is my target was initially chronically ill veterans. And the more I looked into the topic, I began to see that, well, everybody will need this. Everybody needs some peace and relaxation from work, from children, from husband, from wives, from whatever. Everybody would need a little bit of, retightening of the screws and some rest, some me time. Next slide, please. Again, another repetitive, but this also shows in steps of importance, the chronically ill veterans. Why? Because I myself have suffered with an illness for almost 23 years now. And at the time, I did not know what it was. But now that I do know, I am beginning to, for lack of better term, be an ambassador for wholeness and holistic treatments. I've also had a box load of medications that did not work. And I noticed that medications only suppress the symptoms, it does not cure. So for that reason is why I think a holistic approach to healing, to wellness is very important, especially if it did not help me. I am a living testimony, a walking pharmacy. I have been in the past. So I'm very versed with the medication or the pharmaceuticals not working. So a holistic approach is what I wanted to bring forth to veterans, or initially to veterans. And then I realized that middle-class women, we all like our manicures and pedicures. We like our coiffs done. We like, we like makeup. We like looking and feeling good. But that's not always possible if you have to do it in so many places at the same. By the time you come home, you're exhausted. Thus birthed the concept of my program. Ooh. And here again is also showing you our current day society. Everybody is stressed out from work, from home, the pictures virtually depict what our society looks like. But think of this, if you could come to a place and just be peaceful, not have to think about anything, and the quality of service is impeccable to your liking. That's what I am trying to portray. Next slide, please. Is this on a timer? So, according to the market, I had looked around and there was nothing that completely gave me the idea I was trying to put forth. However, one came surprisingly very close. If you have a moment, check them out, but don't be loyal to them. Wait till I come around. Yes? Yes, wonderful. The Risana Day Spa, I was very surprised at their services. It almost embodied what I was trying to do, with a few exceptions. And then some came very close, but nothing yet like the Euphoric Palace, a one-stop shop indeed. Next slide, please. So here you would see the various services that I plan in the dream. I plan on rendering to folk. Makeup, the idea of makeup is not to change who you are, but to highlight your features, your God-given beautiful features, not change it. And then spa services, everything revolving around an anti-inflammatory, a pain reduction, or a holistic approach to wellness. It is not, we don't want to change who you are. We want to enhance you and reduce the amount of stressors that you are feeling, or the amount of stress in the body, because we know cortisol is the stress-releasing hormone. And for women, we know it hangs around the gut. But if we can bring that down and give you a sense of wellness, the probability of you becoming more creative, your faculties functioning at higher levels, or neurons snapping faster than they have been in the last couple of years, then my goal would have been set. Next slide, please. So I looked a little bit at when I'm thinking of such a project, and I looked at the amount of money that I would need approximately. I'm not an expert on the business plans yet, but I wanted to see what the market was saying. And it's a multi-trillion-dollar market. So when we look at the trends and how healthcare is going, specifically moving away from pharmaceuticals into natural and holistic wellness, the I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and this is worldwide. It's not only in America. However, America does embody the vast majority of these numbers. Next slide, please. So I come to you today with one, seeking how I can grow my customers and fan base at this point, bring more traffic to my current product and my blog, and then how to get funding for the vision you just saw. Next slide, please.
Tiki, thank you so much for the great presentation. We're gonna start our next episode, which is getting people to support you in the question aspect. I'm gonna turn it over to Jen Dalton.
Good morning. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. I'm already feeling the, I want to go get some bath bombs and relax and de-stress. So thank you for that. What will happen is we'll have folks ask short questions, and then if you can also keep the answer short, because we want to get in as many questions as possible.
Okay.
And so for attendees, if you can use the Zoom feature or raise your hand or drop a comment or question in the chat box, that would be great. I'm going to kick us off with one question just to clarify. Can you speak a little bit to where your business is at right now? Is it online only? Do you have, like, what's the current status of the business?
Okay. So currently I am producing, hand-making one product, my holistic bath bombs, also a one-stop shop. It gives you anti-inflammatory properties, moisturizing properties, antioxidant and antibacterial. So all the stuff that will make you look good, feel good in the bathtub and leave your body nice and shiny, very moisturized when you come out. And I am very much at the beginning. I am still trying to learn the ins and outs of making a business. So I'm very, very fresh in the boat.
Perfect. Thank you for being vulnerable, being here and presenting. I'm going to start us off with Talmar, and then I'll go to Manifa. Talmar. Just make sure I'm going to unmute you. There we go.
Got me?
Yep.
Good morning, Tiki. Great presentation. I love what you're doing. Oh, you're welcome, honey. I totally love what you're doing, of course, because who doesn't need less stress, right? I think the best advice I have for you for where you're going with regard to capital is people are going to want to see trending sales. So if you're not sure where to spend your energy, focus on really honing in on who's buying and why they're buying, and then just doubling down there, because the sooner you can show trending sales, the easier it is to get, once you have those contacts, get them interested in investing in you and your business. And a lot of that will come from people you know, peers, family, and so on. You can get introductions to other people later on, but try to really work towards a trending upward sales and being able to show the metrics. And that's how you can quickly get people to go, heck yeah, I want a piece of that. So that's my best advice, but I love where you're going and keep up the great work. And I love the one stop.
Thank you. May I ask Ms. Telma, and for anyone else that would comment, if you would please leave your name and your comment and your information in the chat box so that I can get to you, and or I don't think I will remember all of this, but I can get to it at a later time. I would greatly appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Thank you so much, Talmar. Bruce, if you want to unmute and ask your question, that'd be great.
Hi, good morning. I feel just relaxed hearing your presentation. I was wondering, just kind of as a way of thinking about growing your customer base, how have the people who have found you already, how did they find you?
I have been posting on Facebook and Instagram and word by mouth, and anyone who has purchased or who has seen the postings on Facebook, we also did a virtual mall with Donnell back in March or April or May. I'm sorry, it escapes me. So little postings like this, and then with my website, I'm currently going through Wix. I send an email out to everyone who purchased and left their information. So there's I'm trying to reach out to folks through those means.
Perfect. And then, Bruce, do you have a follow-up? You looked like you wanted to unmute again.
Maybe. And one possibility would be to accelerate that somehow, maybe by rewarding people for referrals.
Okay.
If you bring me a customer, I'll put on some extra wax or something like that.
That's excellent.
And then Monifa, you have your hand raised if you want to unmute and ask your question. We love having you here.
Hello. Hi, Tiki. That was great presentation.
Lady Monifa.
I really like what you're doing, and especially saying that whatever's from the earth is a lot better for you. So people are not just addicted to taking so many pills and relying on them. But what I want to know is, can you tell me a little bit about the holistic therapies that you will incorporate, that what makes your brick and mortar different, that I want to go there? Because there's so many therapies. I'm not sure, but just learning a little bit more about it, it would help me out.
Okay. Thank you so much for that question, Lady Monifa. I appreciate you. And thank you, before I start with you, Monifa, thank you, Mr. Bruce. Thank you so much for your question. Now, one of these therapies, a lot of these therapies, by the way, are things that I have tried and found to work over the years. So there's nothing I would be presenting, or almost nothing I would be presenting I have not tried myself. Number one, acupuncture. Chiropractic care, infrared sauna, that makes a difference, not just the regular sauna, but infrared sauna works on a cellular level where it allows for the rays of the sun to penetrate the body, thus inducing healing of the cells from within. I saw this is one I haven't tried yet, the flotation. I've heard and seen reports where veterans have great times in it and relaxing themselves. People with PTSD and TBIs, they have had good results with that. Personally, I have not tried that one yet. And one of the other ones that I think is multifaceted, as in it produces, it has a beauty and treatment facet to it, are the mud baths. But if I infuse the mud bath with anti-inflammatory properties, then if someone with arthritis and or fibromyalgia gets in there, and or lupus, whatever chronic illness or pain you are dealing with in the body, the ground or the mud in it is supposed to relax you, but then it also moisturizes your body and it detoxifies you. So it's doing several things at the same time. Another one would be the cryogenic. It works for people with arthritis, but it also is individually based. Some people react differently to it. Personally, when I used it, it worked fabulously the first 2 times, and then the subsequent times just began to hurt. So it depends on the individual. There have been excellent reports that that people get from things like that to retrograde illness and or to boost healing processes. So those would be some of the treatments some of the therapies specifically. But then a facial can be a therapy, massages can be therapies also, or makeup. Hello, I use makeup to, when I don't feel good about myself and I don't look good. I used to get so sick that I would get bags under my eyes and my whole eyes would black out like the Green Lantern. Not cool. So I use I use makeup as a way to, at the time, hide what I was feeling and give me this bright, bushy-eyed look when I really felt like crap. However, as I have been growing in myself and becoming whole within, I find that makeup is only, to see me from the moon, to give me that extra highlight and just to make you feel good all around. not to hide anything at this point, but it's an art that I like to indulge in now. That can be very therapeutic.
I love all of the services you're talking through. I do want to make sure we've got a couple more questions that have popped up. So Melinda, if you want to unmute and ask your question, that'll be great.
Sure, it's a double-pitched question. I want to start with, the more you're talking, your product story, because I think your product story, your brand, may be part of how you market this because of the pain that you had and that other veterans have. And for example, I replaced 2 hips and a shoulder, so I was dealing with pain for a really long time. There's a huge market on pain, but what's in your product? Is there something proprietary that you get from somewhere that you can make part of who you are and what your brand is doing? And then have you looked at, there's so many distribution channels, have you thought about where you want to be from selling it?
Thank you so much for that question, Miss Melinda. I appreciate you. And thank you, Lady Monifa. Sorry about that. So the one thing that I do have in my products are CBD infused salts and some anti-inflammatory oils that I use that seem to make it what it is. I've seen moms, the grocery shop, it has some CBD bath bombs as well. And I tried it, but in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the smells, the presentation was very bland. So what makes mine attractive, I think is a presentation. For example, I like eating food when it looks colorful, when it looks inviting. That's how I choose to present my products. When you see it, it looks like a little cupcake. Therefore, I present it in a little cupcake thing. It looks like you can take a bite out of it, but don't do it. Please don't do it. And no, I have not currently looked at the channels. I did not think of that. So thank you, Ms. Melinda. Perhaps I can get with you and talk more about various channels. I'm still trying to weed through being an entrepreneur. So all of these are very new. I would appreciate your assistance in such.
It's a journey. We keep learning all the way. Go ahead, Melinda. What was your follow-up?
I was just going to say, think trademark too, very quickly. We've got somebody in our group that does trademark.
Okay.
Deb Cohen, you have your hand raised if you want to go ahead.
Morning, everyone. Thanks, Tiki, for a good presentation. Really appreciate that. So my comment / question, so your product sounds terrific, and I think there are a lot of people that will need it and want it. And your target audience, certainly a good target audience, but I guess my question or comment is, have you thought about expanding the audience? Because while the top 2 are your targets for who you think will use your product, it may be that lots of people would actually buy that product for someone else. So particularly, having holiday packages, get this for your spouse, get this for your loved one, get this for the veteran that you know. So have you thought about that? And if not, is that something that you could incorporate?
Thank you, Ms. Deb, for that. Yes, I would definitely look into incorporating more of that. And the idea is not to limit people, but to give anyone an opportunity to use. So yes, I would definitely look into incorporating that. I appreciate you and your.
I think to follow on to Deb's question, maybe even adding a gift card or gift certificate feature where someone can gift, dollars to come to your website, because you have a lot of choices in bath bombs, and you may want to have people select their own.
Absolutely. That's a fabulous idea. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Other questions from the group, please go ahead and drop them in chat or raise your hand. And go ahead, Donna.
Tiki, can you give us a little bit more background on why you started your company?
It will be my pleasure. Thank you, Donnell, for asking. So I mentioned earlier that I'd suffered with an illness, fibromyalgia, for 22 years, almost 23 now, but at the time there was no name to it. And everywhere I went, they would tell me I was hypochondriac. So I have a box full of medication, of different pills that I've tried, and some have caused other issues, other almost fatal issues. And I decided enough was enough. I watched as my life deteriorated. I had become bedridden for over 10 months, and my life was deteriorating. And I knew that this was not what God had for me. There had to be something more. And I began to just eliminate the medications one by one. And after, as I mentioned, the idea of the one-stop shop came because when I go to the doctors, I would have so many places to go to. By the time I got home, I was exhausted. I didn't have any help, and I would lay in bed for 3 and 4, 5 days without food or shower or anything because the bathroom looked too far away. And I decided enough was enough. So I decided to, one, create a place where when you come in, you can leave refreshed and come home. So that folks would not have to or feel the way I feel. And if you live in the Northern Virginia area, traffic is a monster. No one wants to sit in it 1 hour to 2 hours when you are that tired. It's exhausting. So the idea of rejuvenation is what brought me to this place. I wanted to feel well and safe and a smidget of who I used to be. I am not there. You can hear me say a lot because I'm having issues, bringing my thoughts together. I see them, but the fluency of it is difficult. So in order to get somewhat of who I used to be or who I am now becoming, things had to change. And thus the birth of the Euphoric Palace.
That's such a great story. I think it's probably something Donnell would chime in with. But putting that story on your website, making more of you front and center as part of the brand, because you've got such a great presence and personality. That story is so relatable. The other suggestion I was going to throw out there, because your website's a very lovely, very photogenic website, but maybe adding in more product details for ingredients would be helpful, because some people may want to know what are the ingredients, just from what are, because that's a differentiator. So maybe an FAQ page or something like that. Rosemary, you have your hand raised. If you want to go for it, that would be great.
Hi, Tiki. What a great story. You did such a great job outlining for us the passion that comes from your heart. I'm so sorry you suffered for so long with fibromyalgia. I know so many people who have gone through that, and I'm grateful to hear that you found a way through it. I know that you mentioned that you're still trying to learn how to be an entrepreneur, and part of your challenge is how do you get the help that you need. I put in the chat, so you have it for afterwards. There are a lot of resources in the Northern Virginia area to help you learn how to run a business, as well as move your business through. So for example, Karen Schmaw, I don't know if Karen's on the call today, but she's with the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. They do a lot of work helping people start their businesses here, a lot of free education. Last year I spoke at their small business event that they had all day. This year they had a couple hours online. There are a lot of accelerators for startups. The U.S. government, SBA, the Small Business Administration, supports local organizations. What county do you live in?
Prince William.
There's probably one in Prince William, but if not, out in Loudoun. There is an SBDC, which is a local branch of the Small Business Development Group, and they run a boot camp, they call it, that's ICAP. And what it does is it's part of the approach to developing your target marketing, messaging, questioning, approaching, like the structure around bringing a business to maturity. And I've gone through with my startup people with just ideas go through it. So all along the spectrum, and of course it's free. So there's a lot of good options for you out there. And my contact information is in the chat. If you want help finding any of these, just let me know.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. What did you say your name was again, ma'am?
Rosemary.
Rosemary. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary.
So
Dan
valuable. I
Linder, you
appreciate
have a
it.
question.
So Tiki, great presentation. Just listening to you speak, you're a wealth of information and knowledge. And so I looked at your website, and I think adding video testimonials, because people buy the sizzle, not necessarily the steak, right? They may buy the bath bomb, but what they're really buying is the benefits of the bath bomb. So I think the story that you told earlier, and to reiterate some of what Jen Dalton said, it's a great story, and I think you need to list that, but you also need to differentiate yourself, because it seems like you have a lot of knowledge and you have a lot of life experience that people would like to hear about.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. The validation that I'm getting from you guys is awesome. Thank you.
Tiki, do different bath bombs address different issues? Because to Dan's point, you have a wealth of knowledge. So are there some that are better for sleep or relaxation? Because it would be great to highlight that perspective on the website too. Like, what problem is it solving?
Actually, they don't. They just the different scents. Every bath bomb has the same product, but the different scents would be what would elicit what feeling you are seeking. For example, the green tea and lemongrass, that is a very earthy, very strong scent. It gives you the sense of when you are sick, you have a cold, you have the flu, you want green tea. Or lavender, when you want to relax, you're tired, you want to distress, then you use lavender. So the different scents are what differentiates the bath bombs, but the ingredients to them are all the same.
So that would be a great way to highlight in the shop section or even in another page potentially, which ones you recommend for which ailments or uses.
Okay.
And Melinda asked if the product has a name. So Melinda, can you speak to that a little bit more?
Sure. As we've been talking and saying things, I was thinking, do you have a name for your product? Is it going to be a line of products, or is it just one product, the bath bomb, with different fragrances? And one thing that came to my brain was boot camp therapy, or something along those lines, because it actually says to you it's intense, and I don't know. I was just playing a little bit with that. The other thought too is just, again, throwing it out to you. One product is okay, but one product, as you market it beyond selling it yourself, you're better with a line of products. I've worked with Lori Gannier. I took her into the mass market. I worked with Wakasa Spa when I was out in California. There are a lot of things that you can be doing to enhance your brand, and your brand really is your story. I love your story. I'm so glad Jen asked you to tell your story, because it really makes your brand what it is and relates to a lot of people. So,
I'm sorry, Miss Melinda, I was having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, I don't want to take any more time. I can, I guess, look in the chat, but basically what I was saying is that your product is your brand is your story, and the story is really important. And one of the things I thought of was do you have a name for your product? With some of the things that were said, I was writing down words, and I came up with boot camp therapy. I thought that might be, or maybe even using therapy as part of the name in your name if you haven't come up with names. You'll want to test all of that.
Thank you, Miss Melinda. If you don't mind, I would like to get with you at a later time to discuss some of this. This sounds fabulous. I would appreciate your assistance.
Thank you. And Monifa, you have another follow-up question?
Yes, hello. Tiki, with the anti-inflammatory properties, have you thought about approaching running groups, weightlifting groups, sports groups, minor, major? And I also read an article that a lot of companies are giving their associates gift bags as in thank you, because one of the things about employees is employee satisfaction surveys, and they were stating that they don't feel wanted or needed enough. So companies are starting to give them little gifts throughout the year. Just thank you. And if you can find, and I'll look up the article, those companies that are starting to do that, maybe that is one way that you can also get a company to buy your products, as in they can give it to their employees, especially after a long, hard day or whatever they may be going through. But approaching different groups that would need those anti-inflammatory properties also would be a great idea.
Thank you, Ms. Monifa, or Lady Monifa. If you don't mind, I would also like to get with you. That's a fabulous idea, not only to grow, but to sell. That's wonderful. If you please drop that comment also in the comment box, I would greatly appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Monifa. Callie, go ahead.
Oh, for individuals not inclined to take baths or whirlpool luxuries, can your products be expanded to serve the benefits that you're providing through bath bombs in other products, such as a soap or liquid for showers, for example?
Thank you so much, Ms. Callie, for that question. I've actually been looking at coming up with a shower bomb or shower fizzles, I call them, where that address specifically that if individuals don't take bath, then they can get the same benefits, except it would not necessarily be, you will not necessarily get the anti-inflammatory properties because you have to soak in them, but you can still get the sense while you're showering and allow your steam to give you that rainforest feel.
Thank you. I could be your customer in that fashion.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I will look very much into creating that one for you.
That's awesome. That's a great suggestion. Natasha, you have a question. If you want to unmute, that'd be great. And if she stepped away, I'm going to go ahead and ask on behalf of Natasha. There you are, Natasha. Go ahead.
Hi, Tiki. How are you?
Hi, Natasha.
That was a great presentation. Thank you for sharing. I learned a lot today. So my questions are, well, I have two questions. Have you gone to your local, Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or Wegmans to pitch your products? I know of another, it's a well-known hair product company. When she started her company, she went to her local Trader Joe's and she pitched, and they were looking to work with small businesses. And so that's how she was able to get her products in the store, like a small sampling, and then her company grew from there. And then, so one of my mentors mentioned invoice factoring to me a couple of months ago. And it's a way to receive funding when you're working business to business. So if you find a client that creates a contract, so for example, if you were to, let's say, contact Trader Joe's and they said, oh, let me get this many, but then you're like, oh, I don't have the money to make that many. You could work with companies that do invoice factoring to provide 80% of the capital required up front. You make your products and then you get the final portion at the end of the execution of your mission. I haven't tried it yet. I plan on trying it very soon, within probably the next month or so. But maybe there's someone on the line that has experience with that. But please write down invoice factoring, and I'll also put it in the notes.
Thank you so much, Natasha. I really appreciate it. And since you're a veteran at this point, I would really appreciate your assistance with that pitch or pitching to companies, because I do have a lot of those shops that you mentioned around me.
Okay.
Wegmans is less than a mile away. I would really appreciate it. That would be an excellent way. So I would appreciate your assistance in help me out.
No problem. I will help you. I know what you're trying to
Invoice factoring.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Hey, Tony, go ahead and jump in with your question, and then Phyllis, I'll have you jump in as well.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Again, Tiki, wonderful job. Quick question. Are you the sole manufacturer, distributor, salesperson, and operator of the company? Do you have anybody helping you at all? Because I didn't hear that in the presentation.
At this time, it is also a one-stop shop.
Okay. So here is my comment to you, that you are in a community of wonderful veterans, veteran spouses, who in many ways are looking for something to do on a daily basis, especially during this time of COVID where everybody's in isolation. I would suggest reaching out to your friends, your friends from from your military past, even people in the community that you already know who are looking for something to do, and offer them, and not, don't say I can't pay you right now, but offer them a piece of the pie as you move forward, like allocate out something for that. Get them passionate about it so they can start spreading the word, because one of the difficulties in what you're doing is you get a couple of customers, or you start becoming popular, and then you're scrambling trying to find people you trust, people you know who can help you along. If you have that community building now from the beginning, and it's a truly military veterans background, a veterans operation, you can grow a lot quicker with people that you trust, who have skin in the game, who have an investment in you and in the product, and can help you out. And they can make the bombs for you, they can sell the bombs for you, can work on marketing, any number of things, and they can do it part-time, helping you out, making a couple of bucks here and there that you can allocate out, and start growing it more holistically to get those numbers up that investors want to see. There's some great examples that I can send you. I'm not going to advertise them all right here, but one great example is the woman who started Dog Tag Bakery in DC, which is a wonderful example of what you've done. And if you don't know, you smiled, so I assume you probably already know who she is. Great example of what she did. And I think you follow that same model, you'll have success too.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. I actually attended the Dog Tag Fellowship last year, and that's where my idea was birthed. They have done a really fabulous job for me, bringing out the ideas that I had in my head and making it what it is now. You are absolutely right. Thank you so much. And I would look forward to discussing more or getting more recommendations, if you will, on this.
Phyllis, you had a comment? Do you want to go ahead and unmute and chime in?
Hi, Tiki. Good morning. That was an awesome presentation. I really love your enthusiasm and your passion for this.
Thank you. Thank you.
So my comment is more towards getting the word out and growing your customers. I don't know if you've partnered with other places that your target market hangs out. So like, for example, for fibromyalgia, I know a lot of massage therapists specialize in helping people with fibromyalgia, or other holistic healers or holistic centers, yoga studios, Pilates, Reiki, those kind of practitioners. Oftentimes they are looking for products like yours to better help service their clients when their clients are not actually in their studio.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a brilliant idea. I appreciate it. I'm busy writing, so if you see my head down, please forgive me. But that's wonderful. I would definitely look into that. I appreciate your comments.
Any other questions or comments from folks want to chime in? I do think that like the Phyllis's point on all those businesses, it could be a great customer appreciation gift, right? And then they can decide how they want to integrate or carry it in the store, or integrate it into their experience. Melinda, you have another comment? Go ahead.
You're probably not up to it yet, but you need to think about how you're packaging your product. And it depends where you're going to sell it. And you can have you can introduce your product in different channels a little bit differently. So different price structures and things. So you could think you might come up with a military product for military bases and people that come out of the military. You might come up with a product for orthopedics, massage therapists, acupuncturists, and they can be different enough that if you're packaged differently and you can come up with different names, you may be able to get different types of distribution going in different directions.
Okay, Mayosha, and then we'll go to Natasha as we slowly wrap up. Mayosha?
Great products. I would love to have some of those at my school because we actually teach children's spa, and we do make bath bombs, and I love those. Have you thought about doing having the opportunity for companies to put the logo on it so they can give it away as gifts? I know that Jen and I both know a good printer who can work with you on that. But I think that's a great idea if we can, if you can come up ways where we can also give those as gifts for companies and for you to partner with people who do that kind of thing.
That's amazing. Thank you, Miss Melinda, and thank you, Miss Mayosha, for those comments. I appreciate it. And please, I hope you are putting this in the comments. These are all very wonderful ideas. I have not thought of this at all.
And we'll be in touch. I'll see what I can do to have your products display at my school as well.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful. This is fabulous. I appreciate it.
And Natasha, you have a second to last question.
Okay, I'll be quick. Thank you, Jen. Okay, so Tiki, I went to AFES last year and spoke to the vending manager. So the local managers at AFES, they're responsible for the vendors that set up their tables, in the front, like when you go to the PX.
Yeah.
And so you can go there and request to be a vendor, and they'll charge 10% of all of your sales. They won't charge for your table. You know how usually when you go to vending events, you have to pay for the table. They won't charge you for the table, but they'll charge a percentage of your sales. So that's another option. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Natasha. Thank you, everybody. Please make sure to drop your name and contact info in the chat. A lot of people already done that. And any other ideas? We go to, let me just look at the next slide. I think the next presenter is Days for Girls, Phyllis. Phyllis, you're presenting next week. Who would you like to have come? Who can we try to recruit to have attend? What's going to be your challenge question, if you don't mind speaking to that?
Okay, little bit of background. Days for Girls is a all volunteer run organization. We make cloth menstrual pads for distribution to people who need them. So if you're not comfortable about menstruation, you have a week to get comfortable. We have, so our challenge question is going to be how can we, the typical model is going overseas, for example, on mission trips or other humanitarian trips, distributing these overseas to communities in need. And now because of the pandemic, we're going to need to start looking at more local distribution. So we have a two-pronged question. One is finding communities in need locally who would want to use reusable cloth menstrual pads, and two, how to connect with fundraising, because it's an all volunteer organization. We just need to cover our expenses, which is just materials. So how to, and maybe those two are connected, but those are our two main questions.
Thank you, Phyllis. I appreciate that. And then as far as next slide, I think our schedule is getting pretty full, released out in the next couple of weeks. It would be fabulous if all of you can think about whether you would like to present, who you know that might like to present. It's a great forum for people to ask a single targeted question for input and feedback. The community is great on giving input and feedback and asking great questions. This is all free. It's all volunteer run. So please share the message, spread the word. We would love to have more people apply and be ready to present. Are there any events that are coming up that anybody wants to speak to and share or drop in the chat? I see, Talmor, you've got one that you dropped in if you want to speak to that.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Jen. Yeah, I'm really excited because we're doing our free training. Boss Actions is doing our free training tomorrow, Thursday, 4:30 Eastern. We're going to help you understand how to hire your best assistant ever. And it doesn't matter whether it's your first time hiring for a part-time assistant, or you have an assistant that's not working quite the way you want, or you're ready to up-level your assistants and get somebody that helps with your personal assistants as well. We can help you hire the kind of team you deserve. It's free. Please join us. Would love to see you all there. Thanks.
Awesome. And Tony, you want to highlight something, a couple events from the Central Chamber?
Oh yeah. So coming up on tomorrow, the Thursday, the 23rd, we have the Sandler training coming up. It's to help with the turbulent tides with the your sales strategies. It's a very good interaction group. He has about 6 to 8 people, so it's not too busy, and he does a lot of one-on-one. It's very interactive. I've attended in the past. It's really good. And then the other thing we have coming up is there's a virtual roundtable that is going to have a guest speaker, Steve Black. That's next Tuesday, the 28th, from 11:30 to 1:30. And Steve Black is going to talk about how to take care of your business during this crisis time. And if you're looking for an exit strategy, how to able to maintain that as well. So those are 2 good events coming up in the next week. So you can check for them on the Chamber of Commerce, cfcc.org website. Thanks.
Thank you, Russ. I appreciate that. We always ask one last question. So Donnell, if you want to unmute and ask our infamous last question, that would be great.
Tiki, it's always a pleasure to be around you, and thank you again for sharing your story. It was absolutely amazing. But my question to you is, what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Thank you, Donnell, for that question. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, for showing up today and helping me. I am not certain how to answer that question because I don't know, while I have gotten so much more, I don't know how to move forward at this time, but I know that I have you on speed dial, and you can always take my concerns back to the family. I would appreciate that that opportunity to always be able to reach out to you and the family. But as of right now, you guys have been tremendously fabulous. So I have gotten a lot of information and a lot to work on. I look forward to it, and I look forward to contacting each and every one of you. At this point, I'm saturated.
Thank you so much.
For right now, only for right now.
Do me a favor and go into the chat. Open up the chat, and there's 3 little dots in the chat. Click that button and save all of that information from the chat. And that way you'll have everybody's contact information. For those of you that are participants, you can do the same thing. We made that available to you. Don't let the communication stop here. Even though we're locked into our homes for COVID-19 doesn't mean that you can't continue the conversation after 1 Million Cups. This is a community of individuals that help each other. And let's continue that outside of 1 Million Cups every Wednesday. Thank you guys for coming. If you haven't presented before, I know that you enjoyed everything that happened today. The same thing can happen for your organization. Please go to 1millioncups.com/Fairfax to be a presenter for our organization. We would love to host you. We would love to have you. We would love to share your story. Thank you so much. It is 9:59 right now. That ends our program, but it doesn't end our conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Best wishes to you, Tiki. Bye.
Thank you, Tiki.